Thank you, Dolores, for joining Millennium Magazine and I for this interview. Really excited to have you here.
Me too. I am too.
It's been a great start of the day so far.
Oh, we've had fun.
Obviously, the new season of Housewives is coming on really soon, so we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. Speaking of Housewives, what is something that surprised you in this upcoming season?
There's some new faces. Typically, it's hard to bring new women into a group, right? Because it doesn't always pan out, but I happen to think these girls were a good fit.
I would think it's a little bit intimidating as a newcomer to go onto your show with all the seasoned cast members.
No, there's also organic relationships. Somebody they just came off the street. They're actually friends of people on the show, so
they're familiar.
Yeah, we're familiar. New Jersey's like that though. Everybody knows everyone. I always say New Jersey's very incestuous.
No matter where. I mean, I'm from South Jersey, even working at the same story down.
It is. New Jersey, and like I said, there's no secrets there.
How do you conform to these new relationships, but with the new girls? The idea that you don't know organically.
No, well, I kind of know them. I'll be honest with you. I kind of do. Like I said, I always, in any group or in any setting, somebody new coming in should be always welcomed with open arms. That's across the board.
Your awareness extends past beyond the show with your different nonprofits that you're involved with. One which we know very well about is you're passionate about dogs, and you do a lot with dogs that need TLC.
All dogs need TLC. Well, they nerve it. My whole life, I have loved dogs, but when my daughter was younger, she had this fascination with all animals. She became a vet. She told me when she was 3 years old, she would be a dog doctor. And she never deviated from that plan her whole life. As long as she was able to walk or talk, she would put Band-Aids on dogs, and she would just tell me she was a dog doctor. And it's funny, that is what she became.
Yeah.
So I have 5 dogs, 7 dogs, sometimes 10 dogs. I don't even know how many dogs I have.
So you foster the dog?
No foster. So we have a foster fails. My ex-husband has 2, which are always at the house, and son has 1. My daughter has 4. She brought back from veterinary school with her. She went to Ross Veterinary School.
Is there a specific organization that you work with?
Yeah, I work with Halfway Home Animal Rescue. I'll work with all rescues. Like I recently Petsy Wellness Tour. I did an event at the South Street Seaport, and there was a bunch of different organizations there. Very few times will I not support a organization. I mean, we're there for the animals, and I use my platform for this. Like the other day, somebody sent me a picture of a dog who needed a home because apparently the landlord wouldn't allow them to keep this dog even though they rented the apartment with the dog. Whatever the story is, you'll never know because the dog can't speak, right? Right away, I got this. I posted the dog on my Instagram. The dog's now in a beautiful home.
Well, you actually answered my follow-up question because I did see that post about the dog.
Shiloh?
Yeah, and I was like so excited. So I was going to ask you about what happened.
What happened with Shiloh? Shiloh's doing better than all of us. Shiloh will have a shore house. Shiloh will be, in a very loved home.
Well, I think it's amazing that you have this platform and you use it for good. Help Shilohs of the world.
Yes, we do that. We do as much as I can. I can't save them all, but I wish that I could.
We were speaking earlier about some of the work you do with women shelters. Well, maybe I do elaborate a little bit more about that.
A few years back, I'm from Patterson, and I always go back to where I came from. I have a lot to owe to that city I came from because growing up there was so diverse. They say if you grew up in Patterson, you could survive anywhere. And I have, a lot to get back because of where I come from. I can survive. I go back, and a few years back, I got a call from my brother who's a cop, and he saw a little boy and his grandmother playing outside of what looked like a very kind of dilapidated house, He heard the boy calling his grandmother Nana, which is what we call my mom. All the kids call my mom Nana. And paid attention to them and saw them go into this house and looked further, and it happened to be a women's shelter. Shelter was really in need of a lot of things. They were sewing their sheets together. They needed supplies. It was 2 weeks before Christmas. They were in not such a great spot because they're not a big, huge shelter that everyone knows about. It's a domestic violence shelter. It's called Hilltop Shelter, Hilltop Haven. He called me and he's like, we have some work to do down here. Like I come from a family, I'm one of 5, and we were raised to always give back and help people who need it.
This next question kind of goes along with the same topic because you're a strong female in the public eye. And, what are some lessons that you have learned that you could pass on to impressionable young women who are watching? Because you have a huge audience base.
Although I'm strong, I grew up kind of tough. You had to be tough. But I never, strong gives the impression that you're confident. And although I can be confident, I also struggled sometimes with a lack of, I'm stupid because I'm dyslexic. Growing up when I grew up, you just got bad grades. Nobody told you why you were getting bad grades. It wasn't because you weren't studying or trying. It was because I was dyslexic. That was a big struggle for me my whole life, thinking that I was less than because I was stupid. And I just want, if I could tell my younger self anything, it would be like, know your worth. I want everybody everybody, not just women, but men too, young people, know your worth. Don't ever put up with anything that you shouldn't because you think you're less than, because you're not. And anyone who's making you feel that way, they have a problem. It's not you. Like, don't ever look at somebody that did something wrong to you and think they did something wrong because you deserved it. You never deserve that.
And that, I think that's a really important lesson. And now, unfortunately, for, a lot of us, we learn through experience, right? Throughout life. But if you could somehow just get this message across to the younger generation.
Each experience made me stronger, made me who I am. It molded me. It never broke me. But I was also used to fighting, and I was tough. So I just want everyone to know you're also stronger than you think you are.
Do you have any business ventures that you're looking forward to, or new goals?
The goal is always to be skinny. The goal is always to have a better regimen at the gym, because I'm around people now that I'm in my 50s, and I'm around people that are older. My parents are getting older.
Yeah.
My boyfriend's mom is in her 80s, and she recently just fell, but she healed so well because of her diet, because, well, she's not in this country. She's from Ireland.
Okay.
The food is clean. She always kept it very active. She has a garden and, things like that. And she always walked. She wasn't lazy. And I think it's so important for people to get into a healthy regimen, because the second half of your life comes before you know it. And the healthier you are, the more active you are. So important for how I'm going to retire. But do you want to retire healthy?
Right.
Or do you want to retire where you have all these ailments? And I really believe, not that I'm a guru, but food is poison. Like, a lot of food, what you put into your body leaves an imprint. I am not the Mother Teresa of diet. I will tell you, I eat McDonald's, I eat Burger King, I don't always eat healthy, and I don't work out every day. I wish that I did. So I think that if you can implement the earlier in your life, you implement health and eating right. Always room to have your cheat day, and there's always room for a little bit of slagging. But for the most part, be healthy. My grandmother lived to be 105, and one thing I knew about her was she never ate junk. She was Italian, everything was made fresh, everything was washed a million times before she cooked it. She lived a healthy life until she died. Live your life like the way you were meant and want to end it.
Well, you're right about food. The flip side of being poisoning, the right foods can heal you.
Right.
I'm reading the book called Eat Smarter, and it just really breaks it down for you what different foods can do for you. It's amazing. And speaking of Italy, I go to Italy every summer to the Amalfi Coast. We stay at Lodigiano.
Yeah, where do you stay?
Lodigiano. We have a villa.
Oh, nice.
Well, we met a family, and we just kept on going to the same family. So, Italians are your kids. Or love it. We've been adopted.
We didn't have adopted. They'd love to have you.
Yeah.
I look forward. Sometimes I forget my Italian side. I'm like, I don't want company. Oh my God. But the Italians are never like that. I embrace company. They take everyone in as family, and really, that's the way I was raised.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful way to be raised. Speaking of the food is so clean, right? It's so fresh.
Yeah, I've been to Ireland 3 times in the past year. I go to Italy. I would go to Positano. I stayed at La Serradus. And when you're eating there, you're like, oh God, I don't want to get on the scale when I come home. And I'm in a castle eating pastries and scones at tea time a whole week, and I come home, I'm 5 pounds lighter.
Well, is there anything else that you would like to add, whether about the show, about your life, anything?
The show. Stay tuned. It's a very good season.
Yeah.
I love, and I want to thank everybody for their support in watching the show. And I meet a lot of young women that always come up to me and ask me for advice on life. There's nothing better. I don't have all the answers, but I could speak on what I've gone through. I always feel like when somebody comes up to me and asks me, like, boyfriend advice, divorce advice, what did you do? How did you do this? How were you strong? And I'd love to be able to tell them. So anyone who sees me, you're always welcome. Honestly, I don't call them fans. I say when friends come up to me and want to take a picture saying hello, I love it.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
You've been wonderful to us. Absolute pleasure.
It's so much fun. Everybody at Millennium magazine is amazing. And they were one of my first interviews with.
Well, we have a great leader, Warren.
Yeah.
Have a good But thank you so much.
Thank you.